Welcome to the Simplicity of Wellness podcast. I'm Amy White, holistic nutritionist, life coach, and weight loss specialist. If you're tired of overcomplicating food, battling your body, and starting over every Monday, you're in the right place. Here we talk about what actually works, simple shifts in food, mindset, and habits that lead to lasting change. Let's dive in. Welcome back, Simplifiers. I'm really glad you're here today because I want to talk about something that's been on my mind. And honestly, it's been playing out right in front of me in real time with clients. We're living in an incredible moment where you can open up ChatGPT, type in your calorie goal, your protein target, your food restrictions, and within seconds, you have a beautiful, well-designed meal plan for the entire week. Recipes, links, macros dialed in. It's genuinely impressive. And I'm not here to tell you that's a bad thing. It's not. AI is amazing. But here's the thing, and this is what I really want to dig into today. That meal plan, as perfect as it looks, it's essentially a really smart diet book. And most of us have lots of really smart diet books. So, if the problem was never the information, then what is it? I'm going to tell you about something that happened recently, something that I noticed across two completely separate client conversations in the same week, and it really got me thinking. Both of these clients are at week 4 of coaching with me, and both of them came into their calls saying almost the exact same thing. I was bad, I went off track, I feel like I failed. One had a house full of friends for the weekend and found herself skipping protein, drinking more than planned, and eating late at night. Then feeling so ashamed about it that she stopped tracking her food. The other had a beautiful Valentine's Day dinner with family, splurged on a dessert that turned out to have way more calories than she imagined, and then spent the next several days fighting sugar cravings and feeling like she'd blown it. Here's the crazy part. Both of them said the same version of this. This is where I always quit, and I found that so fascinating. Week 4, both of them. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. That's the wall. You know the wall I'm talking about, right? That moment when the initial motivation starts to fade, when real life crashes into your best intentions, when you have an imperfect weekend and your brain says, see, you can't do this, you never stick with it. That moment is not a nutrition problem. That's a thoughts and belief problem. That's the story you've been telling yourself, probably for years, showing up right on schedule. Here's what's different this time for both of these women. They didn't quit. They had a scheduled coaching call and they got on that call. Neither of them have ever worked with a coach before. Neither has ever had someone else reviewing their food notes, their patterns, their week, and reflecting back to them what they can't see themselves. And what they couldn't see was how much they had actually done right. One of my clients was convinced she had zero self-discipline that weekend, but after discussing the week and weekend, we saw that she had front-loaded protein most of her days. She'd prepped egg bites ahead of time. She set out healthier snacks for her friends. She'd made fancy waters available to grab rather than having sugary drinks on the counter. That's not failure. That's someone who's leaning into her new instincts, even when things are chaotic. But here's the critical thing. She couldn't see any of that. Her brain had zoomed in on the 2 days that felt hard and erased the rest of the week. She wasn't being dramatic. That's just how our brains work when we're in diet mode. We're trained to measure ourselves by our worst moments. With my other client, I was able to help her understand something really important. The cravings chasing her for days after the big dessert, that's biology, not weakness. Her body was responding to a blood sugar swing. She wasn't falling apart. She was experiencing a predictable physiological response. And now that she understood that, she could name it, work through it, and know it would pass in about 3 days. She told me, this is where I always lose it and give in to the cravings. And I told her, not this time, because this time you got on the call. You broke the pattern. That's what coaching does at week 4 and every other week where you hit that wall. It doesn't let you disappear. It doesn't let the story, I failed again, take root and become a reason to quit. Now let me come back to the AI piece, because this is really the heart of what I want to say today. I had a conversation recently with someone who was genuinely excited, rightfully so, about using ChatGPT to build out her nutrition plan. She'd plugged in her protein goals, her calorie target, her dietary restrictions, and it spit out a gorgeous week of meals. She told me it was the easiest it had ever felt starting something like this. I smiled because I get it. That is easy, and that matters because barrier to entry is real. But here's what I kept thinking. She already knows what to eat. Most of us do. The macros, the protein, the portion sizes. We've read the articles, we've done the programs, we know the framework. The information was never the missing piece. ChatGPT can give you the what. It cannot give you the how. It can't help you when you're hosting a house full of guests and protein goes out the window and you're too angry with yourself to even open your tracking app. It can't sit with you at week 4 and help you see that you haven't actually failed. You've just hit the wall that everyone hits. It can't help you understand the difference between I have no willpower and I set myself up to be biologically hungry. It can't reframe your shame into data. It can't point out the patterns you've been repeating for a decade and help you build a bridge over them. The common roadblocks in weight loss are never really about food. They're about conflicting priorities, life just getting in the way. They're about time management, about planning, about the chaos of real days. They're about the lack of belief, the deep, quiet voice that says you don't deserve it or you're never going to get there. They're about emotional eating, about soothing with food in moments of stress or celebration or boredom. ChatGPT can hand you a perfect meal plan. It will not help you work through the thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors that keep you stuck. Here's what I know after years of working with women on this. Sustainable fat loss is not primarily a nutrition problem. It's a self-belief problem. It's a mindset problem. It's a what do I tell myself when I have an imperfect weekend problem. The food is actually the easy part, once you've worked through the thoughts underneath. When my clients say, I was bad, that's not a food comment. That's a belief comment. That's years of diet culture telling them that eating is a moral act, that enjoying a dessert with their family makes them a failure, that one hard weekend means they should just give up because nothing ever works for them. The coaching work, the real work, is helping them see that none of that is true, that the data from a hard week is actually super valuable, that course correcting is what winners do, not quitting. Winners recognize that their body is not their enemy. It's just asking for different things than what they've been giving it. You can't learn that from a meal plan, no matter how sophisticated the AI was that built it. So if you're listening to this and you've been going in circles, losing the same 10 pounds, getting to week 3 or 4, and then watching it all unravel, feeling like you know what to do but just can't seem to do it consistently, I want you to hear this. That's a support problem. You probably don't need a lot more information. You need someone in your corner who will look at your week, your real, messy, complicated week, and help you see it clearly. Someone who will ask you the right questions and point out what you accomplished when all you can see is where you fell short. Someone who will still be there at week 4 and then at week 8 and even week 12 when the walls show up. That's not what a meal plan does. That's what a coach does. If you're ready for that kind of support, we should talk. You can find me at thesimplicityofwellness.com, or you can click the Transformation Starts Here link in the show notes and schedule your free consult. If this episode resonated with you, please share it because I promise you know someone who needs to hear this. Thanks for being here, and I'll be back in the next episode.